Hello. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Julia. Actually, right now I don't know what my channel is going to be about. I've done an introductory video and a story time, and now we're going to be talking about books. So this channel's a little bit of everything. So if you're looking for a little bit of everything, stick around, hit the like button, subscribe, whatever makes you happy, and let's get into it. So today we're going to be going through my book collection, and this is, great because now I get to make a video about stuff that I like, but this also gives me an opportunity to sort through the books that I do have and figure out what I have read, what I have not read, and what I actually do still want to read, or what I can sell or donate or something like that. Hi, editing Julia here. I am looking back through this footage and I realized it had a hard time focusing on my face throughout the entire video. So it would go from clear to blurry, clear to blurry. I'm so sorry about that. I think in terms of quality, this video is a lot better than the last one, but we're still working on it. I promise it'll get better and I'll figure it out eventually. I'm working on getting a different camera. So if you want to just not watch, but maybe have this on in the background, go crochet or something. But yeah, so sorry about that. Love you guys. Mwah. Bye. So the first series is so basic, I know. It's going to be Twilight. This series has a special place in my heart because I grew up with very religious parents. Not even very religious, but religious enough that they were not comfortable with me reading a book about teenage vampires. So I actually did not read these until I think freshman year in college. Now, I had seen the movies before and they're so cheesy and I love them, and I rewatch all of them every single fall. But these took me a little bit to get into. I did not complete this series until I started book 1, and then it took me a full year to kind of work around to getting through all of them. And I'm a pretty fast reader, so that was just because I would put a book down and not actually finish it all the way. But a couple years ago, I was able to work through the majority of the series, and I love it to death. Don't get me wrong, Stephanie Meyer's can be a little bit problematic. I don't think imprinting on babies is a good thing. But overall, I do still have to say that this is my second most favorite book series of all time, just because it's so fun for me to kind of get lost in. Now, I only held up 4 books, but I do have 5. So I have read all of the main series multiple times at this point. I have not completed Midnight Sun. I got halfway through it. I tried even making it, because I had access to the audiobook version as well. I tried making it so that, maybe I could read along with the audiobook and it would go better. That did not happen. So I have gotten about halfway through it. I know I want to finish it because it is kind of fun to see it all from Edward's perspective, but it's still the same story as it is in the first book, so we will get around to it. So for our next series, it's going to be The Hunger Games. I love The Hunger Games to death. This is my favorite book series of all time. No one's ever going to change my mind. So, have I actually read all of them? Yes and no. I grew up not reading the books, but we had all 3 books on a CD audiobook, a CD audiobook collection, and I have listened to each book probably a dozen times. I only have the physical copies of the first Hunger Games and Catching Fire. I do want to get a physical copy of the 3rd book. Don't get me wrong, people overbuying books is a real problem, especially on Book Talk. But in this case, this is a piece of media that I love and adore, so I want to make sure that I always have, physical copies of the text. So Suzanne Collins has released 2 more books, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes and Sunrise and the Reaping. I have read both of these cover to cover. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes gets a lot of flack because I do think it was a little long and kind of boring. But I think Suzanne Collins has the most addictive writing style. She could be talking about paint drying and I would eat it up. I wouldn't need to put the book down. So, was this a little long and wordy? Yes. but it wasn't hard to get through. I really enjoyed it. I loved getting some of the tea on Coriolanus, and I loved the movie too. So yeah, nope, love this one to death. Sunrise on the Reaping broke me. Do I think it was totally necessary? No. Am I glad that Suzanne Collins wrote it? Absolutely. I think that she took a lot of the notes that people had about the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes being too long and really took it to heart with this one. This one had me in tears, and this is also the fastest I've ever read a book. I had this book read in less than 48 hours. It was like all consuming. I would not take my eyes off of it. And whenever I do get a hard copy of the last in the Hunger Games series, Mockingjay, I'm going to reread the whole series, but in order, like with all the prequels. So it would be Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, Sunrise on the Reaping, and then the Hunger Games, and then Catching Fire, and then the last book. So those I will confidently say I have all technically read. So we're legit on those. We're locked in. Our last series is going to be the Fourth Wing series. I have not read these yet, but I bought them yesterday on Facebook Marketplace, so I have a little bit of an excuse there. So one of my favorite YouTubers, Meredith Novaco, I'll link her channel down below. She had a series on all 3 of the Fourth Wing books that are out so far. I think there's 2 more that are planned. And even though I know exactly what happens, rarely do I, because I love listening to book summaries on YouTube, but rarely do I have a book series explained to me in full for the most part, where I'm like, no, I need to read all of this right now. I'm not even a big romantasy girly, but I am really excited to kind of work through these, and I did hear Iron Flame wasn't great, but I can suck it up if it means I get to Onyx Storm, which she said was a lot better. Also, this version was the fancy, I guess it was at Target or Barnes & Noble, but there's like dragons on there and stuff, and it's really pretty. So I'm really excited, and it's the hardback cover, so it's all very nice. Super excited to get into it, but I have not read these yet, so we'll see what if I like them. I might do another video going over my thoughts. I don't think I would do like an in-depth video on each book, but I will probably at some point do a review on the series so far. Okay, so the next group of books is going to be manga. I am not really into anime or manga very much. I mean, I had a little bit of a phase in middle school, but none of it really stuck. The only anime I will consistently rewatch, regardless of the situation, is Attack on Titan. I will stand 10 toes down that it is one of the best works of fiction created ever, period. Very fantastic series. I have not read the manga. I don't need to. I've gotten what I'm gonna get out of the anime, and I love it to death. But yeah, so I'm not really a big manga or anime person, but I do have a few. So somebody recommended Chainsaw Man. I have not read this yet. I just never got into it, so I don't know if it's any good or not. So we'll put it in the... I do think I would like to keep it. I don't think I could see myself buying the rest of the series, but I might read it and then be like, okay, I'm good. But because I have not read it yet, I do want to hold on to it. Next is this random edition of Bleach that my mom got me when she went to Tokyo. It's all in Japanese. Here, I'll show you. Hold on. Let me get a good page. Okay, yeah, sure. You can kind of see here. Can you see that? Yeah, it's all Japanese. I don't speak or read Japanese, but I do think it's just a very cool kind of novel thing to have. And I've never been interested in Bleach. My mom just kind of picked it up and thought it looked cool. And I'm in the same boat. I look at it and think, that's cool. I'm glad I have this. So I have not read this. I probably will never read this. I suck at learning languages. So yeah, cool thing to have. I don't think I'm ever going to read it though. My next 2, I don't think these technically count as a series, but they are the same author. So it's going to be Tomi by Junji Ito, and then Fragments of Horror. I love these. I'm not a manga person, but the stories and the art, I can't get over it. So having physical copies of his work, very important to me. I've read all of these cover to cover multiple times, and I will keep doing so. And I would love to add more to my Junji Ito collection. Okay, our next group is fiction. The first one is going to be Where the Crawdads Sing. I literally only bought this because the movie commercials looked interesting. I didn't even go see the movie. I would probably still read this and then like donate it or sell it or something like that. Overall, I think it's an interesting idea. I don't know if it's something I would typically read. Yeah, no, I will read it, but after that, I think I might pass it on to somebody else. Next is Persuasion by Jane Austen. I have gotten part of the way through this, and then I got distracted. My husband also loves Jane Austen, and he really wanted me to read some of her work, so I will be holding on to this. Also, just look at this book cover. This is so pretty and shiny and gorgeous. Like, oh my god. Anyways, on to the next one. So next is going to be Goodbye to a River. I got this book from my mom because the author is telling a story that my grandpa happened to be in. So this isn't typically something I would pick up, but I consider it a piece of familial history, so I will be reading this at some point, and I will not be giving this to anybody else. This is for me and me alone. But it seems interesting. It's just not something I would normally gravitate towards, but I will be reading this at some point. Okay, I am not a dark romance person. I'm not going to shit on dark romance, but this is not for me. I picked it up at a Barnes & Noble. I thought, maybe I'll give it a try because they had like a cute little table set up. I got 10 pages in and I was like, oh, I don't think this is for me. I have read some other dark romance books that I did really enjoy. I just think that this one's a bit too cheesy for me. So yeah, this one might just be getting donated anonymously. I took it off for the video, but I literally crocheted a book cover for this so nobody knew what I was reading. So yeah, this one might be on its way out. Next is These Violent Delights. This was one of my quarantine reads. I thought it got kind of boring part of the way through. I think I got a quarter in, no, more than a quarter. A little bit farther than that, and was just not all that interested. I like a good enemies to lovers, and there's like a background mystery throughout this book. I probably will reread this at some point. But yeah, no, I liked what I was reading so far. It just, I had a hard time like wanting to go back and pick it up and finish reading it. Outlander, I watched the series. I've watched every single season, every single episode multiple times. And I want to read the book, and now I have it. This was a gift from a friend, so I will be reading this also at some point. I love Jamie. I love him so much in terms of fictional heroes and all that stuff. And Claire's a bad bitch. We love her. So yeah, no, I have this. I will be reading this just because I love the show so much. Okay, lastly, Bram Stoker's Dracula. I have read Dracula before. I loved it. I love the story. I probably will. I like rereading it every once in a while. This edition specifically, I love to death because they went through and had this amazing artist create all of these beautiful illustrations. Hold on, let me show you. They created like all of these beautiful illustrations, and it's just really gorgeous to look at, and it really enhances the reading experience. Let me see if I can find like a full page one. I know there's a couple somewhere. Like, here's another very gorgeous moment. Okay. Here we go. Like, gorgeous artwork. I really love it. Does this show who did... The illustrations are by Becky Coolman. And I've had this book for years, and I love it just because of how gorgeous it is to look at. So thank you, Becky, for creating such a beautiful edition of Dracula. So we are now on to our last group. I am definitely a big science fiction person. I love science fiction movies. I love like cosmic horror, all of that stuff. This is definitely the group of books that I have read. All of them except for one, which is the first one we're going to talk about. I love science fiction. So this first one is called Nod. I think I just randomly picked this up at a bookstore because I thought it looked interesting and just never read it. I think it's... Here, let's read the back. I think, yeah, it's definitely the stuff on the back that got me going. So it says, dawn breaks over Vancouver and no one in the world has slept the night before, or almost no one. A few people, perhaps 1 in 10,000, can still sleep. They've all shared the same golden dream. After 6 days of absolute sleep deprivation, psychosis will set in. After 4 weeks, the body will die. In the interim, panic ensues, and a new bizarre world arises in which those previously on the fringes of society take the lead. Paul, a writer, continues to sleep, while his partner Tanya disintegrates before his eyes, and the new world swallows the old one whole. So yeah, the back was super interesting. I love those, like, don't go to sleep, like, creepypastas or whatever, so this looked really interesting to me. So I will probably still read this at some point, because I have not bought any science fiction recently, so this is next on the list. So the next book in our list is going to be a copy of Dune that my dad gave me, and I have read this. I love Dune. Excellent, very well-rounded series. This book specifically was published in, I think, December 1984, which, again, I love it. I love it. I love the old book smell, and this was back when you could buy paperbacks for less than $5. So I love this book. Dune will always have a special place in my heart, and it's what really got me into science fiction. Speaking of 1984, here's our next book. So I do think that this counts as science fiction. I think it's, like, pretty dystopian. I've read this book multiple times. I've read it for school. I've read it for pleasure. I love it. It's a very important book to have, especially now. So, yeah, no, love this book so much, so much. So next is going to be Shards of Earth. Another one of my favorite YouTubers, Quinn. I'll link his channel down below too. He did a video on Shards of Earth, and I thought it was really interesting, so that told me, go pick it up and read it. I've gotten about halfway through this. I love it so far. It's really good. And I love I wouldn't call it high science fiction, like science-heavy science fiction. I'd say it's a pretty good in-between, but I really love it so far. If you do want a science-heavy science fiction book, The Three-Body Problem is the place to go. I did like the show on Netflix. I think some of the changes they made were necessary to, I guess, make it hit better with a American audience. I thought they did a really good job. Some of the changes I thought they made were interesting. It was definitely more character-driven in the show than it is in the book. In the book, it's about the plot and the lore and the science. So you're getting two different things. But I love this book. 10 out of 10 would recommend. I do want to get the rest of the series eventually, but I'm on a no book buying ban until I finish all the books that I do have. I think I said I read all of these. There is one more that I have not. I think this is science fiction. I don't know anything about it. My dad recommended it to me and wouldn't tell me what it was about. So, yeah, this one's still on my list. It's just a massive book, so it's a lot to get into. How many pages is this? Hold on. So not including the notes at the back of the book, this is a 981-page book. That's a huge commitment. So the book I'm referring to is Infinite Jest. I've heard some stuff about it. If my dad didn't want to spoil it for me, I did avoid any YouTube videos talking about it, so I do want to go into this one blind, because I do love spoilers. I love knowing what I'm walking into. This one, I don't think I'm going to. I've had this book for a long time. Just committing to reading almost 1,000 pages of text is a lot. So, it's on my list. I don't know when I'm going to get to it, but I definitely will. So, I lied. I forgot about two of my books. Because they don't sit on the bookshelf. They sit somewhere else. So, first is going to be I think this is first edition. And this is a book that I prize very much. So, if it's not first edition, it is older. It is a pristine copy of Poems of Yeats. I got this as a gift from a family friend when I graduated. Yeah, no, very interesting, very lovely, but this is also like an edition I try not to touch too often just because of how old and how excellent of a condition it's in. So, there's that one. Next is going to be Milk and Honey. This one I will stand on. I love this book. I think every young woman should read it and then reread it again and then reread it again. It's very helpful, and every time I reread it, I get something more out of it as I age, and I really enjoy it. yeah, I think everybody should have a copy of this. And then our last one. Okay. The Library of Shakespeare. This was a birthday gift. I think I was like in high school. And it is just a massive copy of all of Shakespeare's works. Beautiful art. I love it so much. Definitely something that is a generational heirloom in my opinion. Yeah. There are more books that I left at home when I moved out that I do wish I still had. I have like a completed edition of Edgar Allan Poe's poems and the entire Maze Runner series. I think those are the only two I accidentally left at home that I do still want back. But yeah, okay, that sums everything up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that stuff. And I will see you guys in the next one. Okay, bye.